say you are absolutely listening to the George Espenlaub Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm. Now, with no further ado, here comes Georgie!
Every night the crowds get bigger, the noise is louder, and I love every minute of it. You're listening to the George Espenlaub Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World, and we don't know where Our World is specifically. All we know is that we live here. But you know, we do get serious every now and then. In fact, we get serious for the first part of the show every single night, and tonight is no exception. I have with me on the telephone a man by the name of Bennet Kelley. And all day, Mr. Kelley, when I'd write your name down, I've been spelling it Kelley.
I had a grade school principal who did that, and she learned. My mother wasn't too happy about that.
Well, then I don't feel so bad if a grade school principal did that. By the time the show's over and I look at this long enough, I'll finally get it right. But you're with us all the way from where, Santa Monica, California?
Correct. Yes, the opposite side of the coast.
My, yeah. We're way down here on the eastern shore on this side, and you're way over there on the other side. It can't get much further than that, I guess.
No, although I do have fond memories of the eastern shore by you.
Yeah, Mr. Kelley and I was talking before we went on the air. He is familiar with the area, and that always makes for good conversation. Mr. Kelley, he is an internet lawyer, which just fascinates me. Of course, it doesn't take too much to fascinate me anymore. He is an internet lawyer. He has a cyber law business radio show host, and I was listening to some of your programs today. That's interesting stuff too. And
a lot going on, yes.
And he is a political columnist, and amongst other things. And ladies and gentlemen, you really need to go to Bennet Kelley. That's Kelley. That's how you spell Kelley. BennetKelley.com. And you will find one fantastic, neat-looking, top-shelf quality website. I mean, it is really neat, Mr. Kelley. I cruised through there the biggest part of this afternoon, and there's videos there. You can listen to some of his radio programs there. You can bounce into the other radio programs. I mean, it's just continual movement, action. You can read his resume. You can read all about him. It's a fascinating place. So go to Bennet Kelley. That's KELLEY.com, and you'll have yourself a good time. So now that I did all that lip dripping, I'll be done, and we'll let you do some talking. But this
sure.
this cyber law, when I saw that, I thought, wow, this is fascinating, because so many of us, young, old, and somewhere in between, we get on the internet and we just go. Without, probably most of us, the majority of us, just goes, and we never think about anything like that. Could you tell us what that really is, this cyber law stuff?
Sure. I mean, it's a brand new area, and That's what makes it very interesting, is everything seems to have happened yesterday or the day before. But as the economy has moved to the digital age, the law has to adapt. And so that's really what we're involved in, is working with businesses and helping them to adapt to this new concept, and also educating legislators and judges about what that means. And I've tried to play a role both in terms of representing clients and business transactions and in court, but also in advising legislators as to what's the best way to address some of the problems that occur.
And you founded the Internet Law Center there in Santa Monica. Excuse
Yes.
me.
We're about to have our 5th anniversary.
Is that a law firm?
Yes, it's a law firm, and we just wanted to brand ourselves in a way so people understood what exactly we did. Since there's so few of us in this space, that we just wanted to make it clear right from the outset, this is what we do.
And there's probably there's probably not a lot of that kind of specialists across the country, is there?
No, there's not. And in fact, a group of us, those of us who are most active in the space, we actually get together twice a year, and it's under 40 people, under 40 of us. So it's a nice small community, and we're generally collegial with each other, and so we're kind of trying to get the business and make sure people are well represented on the internet.
Now, I've got a question. If a young man, young lady goes to law school and they do all the things they're required to do, so on and so forth, and while they're in law school, they're learning the procedures and the laws and who versus who and who did what, when, where, and all those things. Since we're in this whole new world out here in cyberspace, who teaches? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, I said exactly what you said. In fact, I was asked to. I went to Georgetown, and I was asked to speak at my 20th reunion, and so I was asked to give a speech on internet law. And so I started my speech by saying at the reunion, saying it was great to see all familiar faces. And of course, we all have fond memories of our internet law class. And everyone laughed because at that time, I don't know if half of us even had email accounts. and so a lot has changed. Yeah, there actually are internet law classes now. There's some professors who are pretty far advanced. Eric Goldman, for example, in Santa Clara is one of the leading ones in the field. And it is an evolving area. But there are even textbooks on internet law. You'd be surprised. I'm sure you won't find many people reading them at Dewey Beach, but. But it's funny. Actually, I started writing a book on spam and the history of spam. And one of the things I stopped writing because I actually tried to picture myself whether I would sit on the beach and read this book, and I stopped.
I found it interesting when you said in the beginning that you talk to legislators and administrators and judges. This is what fascinates me. Like you said, it's a whole new thing. But now there's some internet classes taking place on the campuses and so on and so forth. But if you are a judge and you have to hear the arguments between two parties, how do you know how to roll or where to go or what to base your decision on, since this stuff is so brand new?
Well, I mean, that's the nice thing about law, and it's based on certain fundamental principles, and you have to have evidence, and so we have to gather evidence. There's new ways of gathering evidence in new areas, but the same principle applies. The same rule of law applies. Contracts have to be honored. People's rights can't be infringed. And so I think it's just adapting the law, and judges trying to understand technology, and usually it works.
So there's a lot of laws that's already on the books, such as copyright laws and so on and so forth. Like you said, infringing upon people's rights and so on and so forth. That although this is a new area, those laws that have been here and have already been applied, they go for this new thing too. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, a breach of a contract is the same whether it occurs, in selling farm animals or in selling web hosting.
I got you.
The
I was talking to. Oh, go ahead.
No, the second one might be more interesting to talk about, but it's still the same principle.
These copyright laws, and I've read that thing. I don't know how many times, but that one part, and I've had a lot of other fellows that's broadcasting on different places discuss the same thing, and I've heard so much that I didn't know in the beginning. I don't even know now. But that copyright law that says about, and you have it on your website, that you can use the material if it's not, and I'm not explaining this thing right or saying it right, under something about the fairness, if you're not making money and so on and so forth.
Fair use, yes.
What about broadcasters like us that's on the internet, and people have a variety of shows, but what about the music part of this whole gig that's going on? If people use their music that they have, such as CDs and things they've downloaded and so on and so forth, and they play them on their shows, is that illegal, or is that some gray area that we haven't reached yet?
It's whose music is it that you're playing, and how you got it, and what rights they claim in that work. It's not. It kind of reminds me of Harry Truman complaining he's never met a one-handed economist, because every economist always said, well, on the one hand it's this, and on the other it's that. And with lawyers, they don't say that; they say it depends. and it really does. I mean, the fair use analysis is very fact specific, and it really depends on what rights are being granted and how you're using them. But there is a growing movement towards kind of free use music. There's a site called Jaramendo, for example, that many of the songs are available either free or, except maybe not for commercial use, but some are available free for commercial use. And there's other places where you can get music for commercial use relatively cheaply as well.
So, if any of my brothers and sisters in the broadcasting arena are listening, there's your answer. And Grandma used to have a saying, it's better to be safe than sorry. And I think there's some wisdom behind those words. So, boys and girls, you can take it as a grain of salt, or take it and tuck it away and do something with it. But our counselor has just spoken to us. Now, bullying. Bullying on the internet. It's becoming more widespread, more vicious, and bad things have happened because of it. How's this thing playing out in courts of law and on the cyberspace side?
Well, there's just a lot of tensions going on here, and this is an area where the laws have been slow to evolve. There's a general concept in our judicial system that you're right, you're entitled to your own opinion and what you're entitled to say anything, but there's also at the same time that you can't do certain boundaries of what you can and can't do, and you can't cause fear in people that they're going to face harm. You can't invade their privacy by revealing their private facts, and you can't cause them severe emotional harm. And so here's where the laws have had to try to adapt, and several states have adopted laws to deal with cyber harassment and cyber bullying, and it's really, but in getting people to understand, and you have police departments that may not have the resources to address this, or the police officers may not be very computer literate. And I get calls from all over the world, and these people, their lives are being ruined, and they're trying to figure out how to address it. And in some ways, there's a limits to what the law can do, and It's really only the most egregious cases I think that really ever make it to court. But it is a problem. And, there's this whole concept of anonymity on the Internet and this view that the Internet's the wild, wild west. And, anonymity is, it has a very important role in American history. It's been part of how people have expressed dissent, going back to the Revolutionary era. And so on one level, websites are reluctant to have to reveal who the posters are, but people do have rights, and if their name is being besmirched based on false statements, they should be entitled to get a remedy for that. So this is kind of an evolving area. There's a big battle over both on the First Amendment side versus protecting victims from irresponsible people on the Internet.
There is. And I hear both sides of the story when it comes to the freedom of speech, and sometimes the pendulum will swing far to the right, way too far to the right, or way too far to the left, where if we just let that thing come back and set in the middle where it belongs, and use a thing called God-given common sense, where these people that are besmirching other people and doing these things on the Internet, and it's never happened to me, but I can only imagine that when this stuff begins to happen, like you said, somebody becomes quite fearful, maybe even to the point of panic, and their life is just turned upside down. If somebody goes through something like that, and let's say it happens here in little itty-bitty Laurel, Delaware, and somebody has been harassed to the point that they're afraid. They're even afraid to go outside their door. And they call the Laurel Police Department. Can anything be done?
Well, there actually are both civil and criminal penalties that could be available to them. And so that's an option. It depends on what's being done and what the scope of what exactly people are doing in response. Something can be done. It just depends on what the nature of what is being done. Usually, the law doesn't get involved, at least on the criminal side, unless there has to be some form of physical harm element to it. The person is threatening to kill them. And which I've received death threats from some of the cyber harassment cases I've been involved in, and so that's when the law might step in. But if it's just someone saying you're ugly, you're fat, that is there's limited things that you can do in that case.
Tell us something about your radio show. Number one, I found out that it's really neat, and I still use words like that. Although I'm getting old, I'm still a kid. I never did grow up, but it's neat. And the longer I'm in this thing, the more I see that there's so many outlets of people. What's the word? Sounding off. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. But just going about their business on radio. Some are a whole lot more classier than others, and I believe that it should be that way. But you're on the radio, and you've been on the radio for quite some time. Tell us about your radio show.
Sure. It's the name of the show is Cyber Alarm Business Report, and the whole idea is to the audience is more of just kind of everyday people. It's not a show for lawyers per se, and it's a show for people who are interested in the internet and want to know, what is the latest things going on, both in terms of the law and as well as I often highlight interesting business models. And so, this week we just had someone talking about crowd sourcing, where basically you bring in a whole lot of people to develop and come up with ideas. And which is kind of a significant thing. And we had someone from ESPN on to talk about there was a big settlement with the Justice Department and some online gambling sites. And and I know in New York State, Delaware actually is leading the nation as being one of the first states that will kind of legalize online gambling to a limited extent. So I mean that's an example of some of the things we've been doing, and we've had people talk about legislation pending in Congress from different things happening across the world, and we've had victims of cyber harassment on and certain advocates on. And actually next week we're taking a detour. I've noticed that a lot of people were kind of upset and looking in some of the chat boards that no one was really in this whole Olympic festivities. There was very little being said about the 40th anniversary of the 1972 games, and what was Israeli athletes. And so I was able to reach out, and I got a hold of Tom McMillan, who's actually a former congressman from Maryland, and he was a member of the 1972 basketball team, and which, as you may recall, had that controversial game with the Soviet Union where we won the game and then they said no, there's 3 seconds left and the Soviets were allowed to come in and win the game. And the U.S. never accepted the silver medal. So he's going to be talking about both of those tragedies on our show next week, which has actually nothing to do with cyber law. But it just seemed an opportunity to kind of reflect on a very important moment in history.
Yeah, and I tip my hat for you doing that, because that's a gap that really should have been filled during these Olympics, but it's not the case. I was going to ask you something, and sometimes I have these senior moments that last for more than a week. But anyways, with Congress and what's it called, SOPA? Am I saying that right?
And there was a companion bill called PIPA. So, but SOPA sounds better, I think.
What does that entail? I know I've got some material from Senator Carper, and I got some material from Senator Coons, and they say they won't, but they will, or they will, but they won't. Which confuses me right from the get-go. What does it consist of, and which is better, yay or nay?
Well, the big issue, excuse me, now I'm getting the frog. The big issue with SOPA is the ability of the content providers, namely the recording industry, the movie industry, to put pressure on businesses to cut off their relationship with websites that had arguably infringing material, and the fact that what it could lead to is more or less a censorship regime where people are forced to take stuff down without any due process. And so that was the concern, that basically it would lead to companies feeling that the weight of the financial pressures if they didn't take stuff down, and without giving people an opportunity to actually explain whether or not what they had was protected under the copyright law. And so that was kind of the backlash, and that's why you saw that big day of a number of websites going black to symbolize what could happen if the law was passed. And it was actually a very pivotal moment, an important moment in Internet history, because the Internet has also had a bad reputation for ignoring public policy. Its members are very much modern and think about technology, but they don't think about Washington. And so for them to actually pay attention to what's going on in Washington and then make themselves be heard, and there were, I forget the statistics, but I think like 5 or 6 senators and 14 different members of the House, who have been sponsors of the legislation, all reversed their position in response. So it was one of the most effective kind of grassroots campaigns you've seen in Washington in recent memory.
Will we continue to hear more about this? I mean, will they go back to the drawing board, or have they, or?
There's treaty that's being negotiated right now. It's called the Trans-Pacific Treaty, or Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement, and there's supposed to be some copyright elements in it. And the treaty, hasn't been finalized, so we don't know exactly what the draft is. But there's concerns that there might be a backdoor attempt to, address SOPA through a treaty. And so there already have been protests over the treaty, even though it hasn't been finalized. A similar treaty called ACTA, which was the Anti-Counterfeiting Trade Agreement, that actually ended up being defeated in Europe over concerns that it could be read expansively and lead to some SOPA-type activity. And at one point, it looked like it was just going to be rubber stamped. So there's definitely there's SOPA and ACTA, both in the United States and across the globe, have energized this group of people that sometimes are called netizens. They're citizens of the internet and who just feel strongly about certain issues. After there was a crackdown on copyright infringement in Sweden, all of a sudden their second biggest political party or third biggest political party was this new party called the Pirate Party, who wanted a more open copyright laws than currently existed. And it was just amazing that it could become a political force overnight. So there are apparently people feel quite strongly about these things, and you might see some very quick reaction.
How, excuse me, how much, if any, should the government have control of the internet, or should they keep their fingers out of the pie?
Well, there's two issues about the pie. One, is it really a pie? No.
True.
Is what is the government role? And right now there's a debate over net neutrality, and there's actually a court battle going on over that. And there, the battle was the question over to what extent should businesses be allowed to control the internet in a way that's discriminatory. And the whole battle over net neutrality started when the chairman of AT&T said, "Well, if Google thinks they're going to be able to use our pipes for free, they're nuts." And so there was this concern that what might happen is that the ISPs, the cable companies, would somehow restrict the availability of content over their channels in a way that's discriminatory. And at the time when the debate first started, there was a lot of people were saying on the cable side that all these things you talk about, well, none of that has happened. It's all theoretical. And what we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years since this debate first ignited is that a lot of the concerns that were discussed are starting to be realized. One cable company was providing preferential treatment if you used their service and was blocking or making it more difficult to use another service. You've seen this whole idea of having metered usage, so that if you want to go above a certain level, you have to pay more. And so what the Federal Communications System is trying to do is, in stepping in, is try to say, listen, you have to be, if you're going to provide this service, you have to provide it in a non-discriminatory way. You can obviously set certain rules on bandwidth to protect yourself, but you have to allow people, to use and freely use, the content and the software systems that they want. And what started a lot of the neutrality debate was Comcast started throttling its users, and by throttling, it would kind of disrupt their connection for those who were using very high bandwidth and would go into certain sites that involved a lot of downloading. And but now this was disclosed, and so what they want is basically, if we're going to go on your private road, you can't have a lot of toll booths or speed bumps unless you provide notice to us that there are going to be speed bumps. And so it's really kind of designed to protect the consumer. But the one area of government control is also to what extent do you want to have security measures. And I think that's what's being debated in Congress this week. And the concern is, we've seen a huge spike in hacking attempts from all over the world and within the country as well. And so, what do we do in the event of some certain cyber emergencies, and what procedures in place? What are the minimum threshold companies should have in order to protect both their business and their assets and consumers' personal data from being stolen. And that's kind of what's being debated now.
This kind of and I'm pretty simple. I imagine you've figured that out by now. But this kind of reminds me of the old cowboy days when the water went down over the hill and it went through the big ranchers' land and it flowed down, and then the little ranchers used the water, and then somebody got all bent and twisted out of shape, and the water was shut down. And you couldn't have no water until you did X, Y, and Z. It kind of reminds me of that. I know that's a way out there analogy, but that's what this cyber stuff reminds me of. It's just we're in the 21st century now, and instead of going through the water going through the big rancher's land, it's the things that's going through cyberspace from the big cable companies and the internet providers and so on and so forth that's trying to put a hook on the end of these things. I try to make simple pictures in my head so I can get some things, but
that's the list in that too.
That's this cyber terrorism thing. Now, I mean everything depends on computers and cyberspace nowadays. I mean, our utilities, the grids, the whole 9 yards, just everything is bouncing through cyberspace and coming off of computers. And I often sit and wonder if I was a bad guy, I think that's where I'd go first in this cyber terrorism thing, because if I could shut something like that down or harass it or turn it upside down on its ear, I'd be on my way to whatever I want to accomplish. And
right,
I think it's a bigger problem and a greater fear than most people realize or understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think one of the things is technology that has evolved. It's provided a lot of conveniences, but it's also provided, increased the potential reach or scope of mayhem that can be caused by people with ill intentions, and that's really what you're talking about. You now can hack and get thousands of personal credit card numbers, or shut down roads, or do something that will impact a huge number of people, instead of just sitting on in one area and harassing people on a street corner. You can now harass people all across the world, and that's the downside of technology. It enables everyone to pursue their intentions. The problem is that not everyone's intentions are good.
Yeah, be it good or evil, they can. They have the option. They have the choice to go either way. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to go to Bennet Kelley. That's Kelley, BennetKelley.com. There is just a wealth of information on Mr. Kelley's website. Mr. Kelley, I know that you're very busy. I don't want to keep you, but I could sit at your feet, sir, and listen for hours about these things, because it's when I was a kid growing up, we didn't even use the word computer. We didn't even there was no calculators or anything like that when I was a kid growing up, and then to move into this, I call it the super duper whooper whopper age. It has been exciting for us old people. And it just seems to get more exciting as the days go by. And I sure am glad. There are men like you that's out there that can look at these things and tackle these issues and steer us in the right direction and even protect us from things that might harm us. Mr. Kelley, you've been a tremendous guest. and I thank you very, very much for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Thank you, and all the best to everyone in Delaware.
All right, and we've got stuff up on our blog, and we'll keep your website up there so people can bounce off of it and get over there and listen to you on the radio and read your articles and do all the things that's available on your website. Mr. Kelley, the best to you. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, the law firm website is internetlawcenter.net.
internetlawcenter.net. That would be an interesting place to be, too. Mr. Kelley, I wish you the best, and I pray that God will just keep blessing you real, real good, sir. Thank you for being a guest tonight.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that is so interesting. Don't you think that's just so interesting? I mean, I could sit at Mr. Kelley's feet and just ask question after question and listen to him, because the more he says, the more questions that arise. My, oh my. We live in this modern day technology kind of a world, and with it, things are changing so fast, and new developments are happening as fast as we can blink our eyes. We're moving faster than a speeding bullet. And guess what? I'll be right back after this word. You're listening to the George Espenlaub Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. We have no idea where that's at. I thank you for tuning in tonight. We're on Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here on Spreaker.com. Wow, we just had a very, very interesting guest, Mr. Bennet Kelley, who is a internet lawyer. He hosts a radio show where he talks about cyber law and business. He's a political columnist, and he is, oh my, I mean, it was so interesting. If you didn't hear the interview in the first part of the service, or the first part of the yeah, right, I'll get it right. You know how I am. This is the Funny Farm. If you didn't hear the interview, excuse me, with Mr. Kelley, you can always go back and listen to it again. It's available. It's up on the page. You can go back and listen to that. And plus, you can listen to all the other episodes that you may have missed, or some that maybe you enjoyed a little more than others. You can go back and listen to them again. Regardless of what you're listening to, we thank you for listening, because without you, there would be no need to have a radio show. And let me tell you something. We're just having a whole lot of fun, and we have no intention of growing up, and we're just going to play some different kind of music this time around.
She took my hand. Since I've been traveling alone on a quest for
Well. That was a great way to kick off the second half of our show. Oh my goodness! Man. Yes, I know. The people are cheering. Dorothy the Doily Maker. Wow, Dorothy, they really like you. Dorothy the Doily Maker has just floated by. I saw her go by the window of the sound booth here at the Funny Farm Radio Studio, and I tapped on it. At first, she didn't see me because, you see, Dorothy the Doily Maker. Well, without saying too much more, remember this is the Funny Farm, and Dorothy the Doily Maker is one of our clients. And so I just kind of motioned her in, and she came in, and she always carries her little needles and thread stuff, and she's always making doilies. I guess that's why they call her Dorothy the Doily Maker. Dorothy, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh man, hey, she almost sounds normal, don't she? But she didn't hear me say that. So, what have you been up to lately?
Nothing really, just making doilies.
The last time, I've seen you on the grounds and going from place to place and stuff, but the last time I saw you was the time that you locked yourself in the barn and wouldn't come out until Mom had to come back from a trip and talk you out. And you were really angry. I'm trying to think of who you was angry at. I think it was Harvey. You was angry at Harvey, or you punched him in the nose, or did something, and then you locked yourself away. Are you feeling better now since that incident?
Very much.
Very much. Did they adjust your medication after all that stuff happened?
Well, they tried.
Did it work?
I don't think so.
No. How are you and Harvey? Do you ever see Harvey?
Yes, actually I do.
Oh, yes, actually I do, you said. And you're nodding your head. Is that a good yes I do, or not so good yes I do?
Well, I see him, and it is very hard to keep calm, but I'm able to stay professional-like, and it's very hard, though, very difficult.
I know what you mean with Harvey. Sometimes he can be difficult, for lack of a better term. Sometimes he gets arrogant. He's very conceited. He can get real puffed up. But I remember that day. You punched him dead square right in the snozzoli. And I remember him, I shouldn't laugh, but I remember after you punched him right on the end of his beak, he fell like a load of bricks, and he didn't move. And I guess you was afraid that you really did some bad damage to him, because you took off and locked yourself in the barn, huh?
I wouldn't say that I was scared. More like thinking, gotta get out of here before I do something more.
So you went and locked yourself away for Harvey's protection, not for your protection. I see. But then my mom, she came back from her trip, and she talked you out of there, and I see that you seem to be doing all right. How's the doily business?
It's going really good.
Going really good. How many doilies can you make in one day?
I don't know. I really haven't counted.
Oh, you haven't counted. Do you keep the doilies, or do you sell the doilies, or do you give the doilies? What do you do with that many doilies?
Some of them I keep, depending on what type of shape they're in. Most of them I sell, and others I give away because I'm feeling generous that day.
So, on the days you're not feeling generous, you either don't give them away or you sell them, right?
Exactly.
But the days that you're feeling generous, you give them away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how many do you have more generous days than you have the other days?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Okay. How long you been doing this doily business? All your life?
Yes.
Well, it's not polite to tell people a lady's age, but I'm guessing. I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing she's about 60, something like that. So you've been doing this all your life. Is that right? You didn't hear me, right?
Well, I did, but I'm just going to let that one slide.
Whoa. You must have taken your medication before you come by.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's so good to have Dorothy the Doily Maker with us. And Dorothy, thank you for stopping by. And do you ever jab anybody in the butt with them needles sometimes when you're walking by?
No.
No? Never once?
I have once, but it was on accident. I was walking by someone, and the needle was kind of sticking out, and it just went right into it. And I started freaking out.
So it was an accident. I see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's all I can tell you. If you see Dorothy the Doily Maker coming down the sidewalk or down the street in your neighborhood, just be careful. Stay clear. Stay away from. Don't get up close to or against her knitting or whatever they're called. Are they knitting needles or crochet needles or jabbing needle? What kind of needles? They're big things, though. I know that.
Well, I've never really paid attention to what kind, but I would most likely want to say crochet.
Crochet. But either one can hurt you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. You heard it right here from the Funny Farm from Dorothy the Doily Maker. There we go, starting to split and splutter already. Before we go any further, I want to say this. We have no guests scheduled for tomorrow night. And so you're going to be stuck with the Funny Farm gang. Dorothy, Charlie, Miss Ernestine, Harvey, if he's in the right kind of mood, or if he wants to. He gets into that I don't want to do anything kind of mood. Thelma Louise Stu Dubegger and Liza May Swampbush and Mikey, our outdoor reporter, who I have no idea where he's at. And we haven't decided yet, we may do our radio show from the practice field where Pop Warner's teams from here in our world have begun to practice. So we'll see, but tomorrow night ought to be interesting, as is every night here on the Funny Farm. Get up and move your booty. Oh my, wasn't that so nice? Huh? You like that? Yeah, I know you do. We're delighted to have with us the gang from the Mountaintop Funny Farm. With us one more time. They're spending the whole entire week and the weekend with us. Boy, I'm just holding my breath because everything has been going along hunky-dory this week. But I just know that any second the lid could fly off when these two Funny Farm bunches get together. Funny Farm bunches. I don't even know if that's a word. I just made it a phrase anyhow. When these two Funny Farm bunches get together, anything is likely to happen, and it will more than likely take place. Somebody will be lighting the fuse here pretty soon, and we will have us a ruckus or something. Oh boy, what's this? It's a stupid airplane. Boy, see, we have the Funny Farm Airport all the way. This is a great big place. This is a real big place here at Funny Farm, and we have we're self-sustained around here. We have our own medical facilities. We have our own law enforcement personnel, our own emergency personnel. We have our own airport, and you would be surprised. I'm telling you, you would be surprised at the people that fly in and out of the Funny Farm Airport on a regular basis. I mean, they I don't want you to stop it because it's not funny. Some of you flew in here. They come from all over. They come from outside in the real world into our world. They're flying in and out of here all the time, and it just so happens that we are under the flight pattern or the takeoff pattern for a lot of those big jets. So there goes a whole load of them now. Yeah. What's neat with these airplanes that come in and out of the Funny Farm Airport is the passengers sit on the wings. They sit out there on the wings. And I'll tell you what, this is Thursday night, usually Friday night Thursday. Hey, there's just one right after the other. But anyways, the passengers sit on the wings, and they stack them up, tie them down, hold them down, do whatever they have to do to get them on board, and then they take they fly out of here and fly in. Here comes a load of them in. Man, I'd call down there, but you can't get a half decent answer when you call down there and ask them what's going on. But I guess that wouldn't do no good anyhow. Here I go, just rambling on. I'll be back in a minute. And we're back, and you are listening to the George Espenlaub Show. Let me get up here a minute. Walk on over here. Let me get this notebook here. Let me grab this dooflicky thing here. Okay. There. You're listening to the George Espenlaub Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. And we don't know where that's at. We're just glad that we live here, and we're glad that you came to be with us tonight. And we want you to come every night, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, live from the Funny Farm with me and all of the Funny Farm people. And we have some tremendous guests that come night after night after night. I'll tell you, they just keep coming and coming and coming, and we got some great guests lined up for next week, and we want you to be a part of the show. So come on in. We want to encourage you to go to the Espen blog. That's THEESPENBLOG, the espenblog.com, and there you can see all the show notes, who's coming, who went, how you can stay in touch with them, bounce off the links and go to their website. Get all the news, get all the goofy things that's happening, all the serious things that's happening, everything that's happening here at the Funny Farm, theespenblog.com. And before we go any further, I want to thank Mr. Bennet Kelley from Santa Monica, California, for being our guest tonight. He is the founder of the Internet Law Center. Tremendous. He is an internet lawyer, which you know as well as I do that this is a whole new realm out here in this 21st century, and he is one of the few internet lawyers that's in this country today. And go to his website, Bennet Kelley, and his last name is spelled Kelley, Kelley, BennetKelley.com. And you can listen to his radio shows, you can read his articles, you can read his bio. Everything you need to know is right there at Bennet Kelley, Kelley.com, BennetKelley.com. And I thank him so much for taking the time to be with us on the show tonight. So, Pops, shut your lips.
All those stories of misleading glory, mighty tall tale just to cushion the blows. Suffered from a tight heart, always feeling from the start. How much can you spare to borrow when you're traveling alone? He was tired and disgusted. He was pushed beyond control. Campaign tragedy and comedy, a roller coaster of life, never quite finding home. Never cared about himself, just him and no one else. Couldn't take away he felt, so he put himself down. He was tired and disgusted. He was pushed beyond control. You can't blame dying soul. All his tears cried, never seen on the outside. They all pour behind his eyes, back into his pride. He soon lived strange, he put an end to his pain. Taken by mom away, and he called it a day. He was tired and disgusted. He was pushed beyond control. Can't blame Billy Bradford. He took his life to free his dying soul. He took his life to free his dying soul. Hey!
Hey, we're getting down there with a little bit of country. Yes, indeed. Well, I'll tell you, we do have some fun around here. We're serious for a while, and then we just become our goofy selves like always. But that's all right. That's just how we roll around here. You know, we're just liable to laugh any time. I even get the giggles every now and then, Joe. You're gonna make me laugh. Oh, come on, don't do. This happens. This happens every now and then. I'm trying to get a hold of myself, but it did. It's not working too well. I'll be all right here in a minute. Just bear with me, all right? Good night, Irene. Where was I at here? Oh, I just want to do this one thing again. You know what I'm saying? So I'll sit here and laugh, and you won't have to hear me. We just want you to get down, tap your foot, snap your finger, bob your head, and shake your booty. Come on, loosen up. It's Thursday night. Tomorrow is Friday. And who knows what'll happen around here. Shake it. You go, girl. You go, Dorothy.
Dear Mr. Williams. Dear Mr. Williams. Dear Mr. Williams. Dear Mr. Williams. I'm sorry to say. I am sorry to say. Dear Mr. Williams. Dear Mr. Williams, I am sorry to say that I have just read your letter. Dear Mr. Williams. Music's always changing. The song remains the same. Music's always changing. The song remains the same. Dear Mr. Williams, it troubles me greatly that you claim I endorse your view, though you do not know my name. I am a songwriter. I do appreciate your efforts to speak on my behalf. But the assumptions you make, well, in all honesty, they make me
you laugh.
Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams. Williams. Williams.
Music's always changing. The song remains the same. Music's always changing.
On your backside. On your backside. On your backside. On your backside.
Music is always changing. But the song remains the same. Music is always changing. Music is always changing. But the song remains the same. Music is always changing.
You can't sing or play, mate. It's carnival, right? But we don't hear a chorus. So here's a small deal, and we own what you write. And we'll take ours and more before yours, mate. Sure, that's alright? So then producers and studios got fat on the pot. And I got the bill. And that was all that I got.
Music is always changing. But the song remains the same. Music is always changing. Music is always changing. But the song remains the same.
I'm free to express and share what I please, without you or your contracts or your boxes and fees.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I'm over my little laughing spell. Think so. I was going to tell you something. Can't remember what I was going to tell you. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. Listen. Go to Blog Talk Radio and listen to Total Tutor Network. That's my friend up there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Neil Haley. Go and tune into his radio show. He is on over 70 different radio stations now, and I know that you will just enjoy what he has to say. He has interesting guests. He's a fine fella. You'll like him when you listen to him. So go to Blog Talk Radio and listen to Total Tutor Network. Man, I get my tongue twisted up on that. Total Tutor Network. My friend, my buddy up there in Pittsburgh, Neil Haley. And we're going to put his Blog Talk Radio player up on our blog so you can listen to his shows. And we're gonna dedicate a whole page to him and so on and so forth. And I'm gonna do that just as soon as I catch up with myself. I've got another article that I have to write for someone. Then I've got a big article that I have to write for someone. So in between the one I have to write and the big one that I have to write, I'm going to try to get that stuff put up there so we can make a place for Neil. He deserves it. And we'll put all his information up there and so on and so forth. And you're saying, Pops, blah, 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 blah. I know, but what can I say? Yeah! goes another load. Yeah. I never flown on one of those funny farm airplanes out of here, but I have my own means of flight. If you've never seen my special air transportation, you need to go to the espenblog.com and look it up. It's on there somewhere. If I remember tomorrow, and that's if I remember tomorrow, I'll put my air travel my air travel vehicle, my air vehicle that I travel in, whichever way you want to say it. I'll put it up there so you can see. First class for me, baby. You know what I mean? But I wonder what they do when they get out of our world into the real world and they run into rain. I don't know. Maybe they give everybody umbrellas or something or another. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't even know what I'm saying. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the Detroit Ilharm. Oh, stop it. It is the Detroit Philharmonic Symphony. Yeah, I like music like that. That is so cool. I was just reading what came over the phone there for a minute. I'll be all right. Hey, let me tell you this. There are more ways than you can shake a stick at to listen to the George Espenlaub Show that comes to you live from the Funny Farm Monday through Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. One is to come to Spreaker.com/user/espenblog. That's one way. The other way is to go to my Facebook page, and you can listen to the show right from there. The third way is that you go to the Espen blog. TheEspenblog.com. And there you can listen to the radio show, whether you listen to it live or you listen to it after we were live. It's there, and it'll be there for you. At your convenience, you can go there and listen to it. The other way to listen to it is I'm in the cloud. I shouldn't have said that because everybody around here just looking at me, and yep, they're gonna do it. I know they are. I see it coming. Yeah, I saw it. I'm in the cloud. So I'm up there in the cloud where I usually am. Stop it and leave me alone. Thank you. You can listen to me from the cloud. And then the other way is after every live show, we are zoomed, launched, shot up to, put into YouTube.com. And you can go up there and just type in there pop-up X7, and you'll be able to find the radio shows. We just started that. Last night was the first one that zoomed up. I call it zooming up. You got beamed up. Now, as soon as this live show's over tonight, this one will get zoomed right up there, so you can listen to us at YouTube. So there's a lot of ways. Then, if you have an iPhone, you can download the Spreaker, Spreake, the Spreaker app, and you can listen to the show on your iPhone. If you have a Droid system, you can go to the marketplace or wherever it is that you download your apps, and you can download the Spreaker, Spreaker, the Spreaker app, and you can listen to us on your Droid. And then, if you want to, while you're riding in your car, you can plug that little doodad into the thingamajig, you know what I'm saying? And then it'll go through the radio speakers, and you can listen to it there. So there's more ways to listen to us than you can shake a stick at. And not only my program, not only the George Espenlaub Show, but my, oh my, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of top-notch quality, I mean top-shelf radio shows that's right here on the Spreaker network. And I'll tell you what, I'm proud to be part of the Spreaker network, and to all my friends on Facebook at the Spreaker group, the Spreaker friendship group, our friend Harry Burke started that page several months ago. For all the Spreaker broadcasters and their friends and so on and so forth to come and ask questions, communicate with one another, have fun, put up there when our radio shows are going on and so forth. I want to thank Harry. I don't know if he's listening to me right now or not. He's probably watching the Olympics or whatever, because he lives over there in Northern Ireland, you see. But Harry, if you listen to it later, I want to thank you. You are to be commended, my friend, for making such a wonderful website. It's a Spreaker Friendship Group, and I'm so proud to be a part of that group. There are some fantastic people there, and I take my hat off to you, Harry, and I take my hat off to all my friends. I tip my hat to you, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. But there's all kind of ways you can listen to radio shows. Go to the Brenda White shows. Go to Big Tiny Show. My goodness, just go on and on and on. There's church services and whatever you can think of. It's here on the Spreaker Network. Just come on in and set yourself down, fill your plate up, and listen to your little heart's content. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've lip-dripped long enough tonight. I want to thank my guest that came with us, that came to us all the way from Santa Monica, California, Bennet Kelley, who is a tremendous man, wonderful resume, who's out there doing a whole lot of good. I want to thank him. I thank him very, very much for taking the time out of his busy schedule to come and be with us. And to you, the listeners, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Whether you listen to me live or listen to me later, I want you to know that I appreciate it so very, very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand there's a whole lot of love coming to you from the Funny Farm. We mean that. We mean that sincerely. And no matter what you might be going through, the valley might be deep, it might be dark, it might be the most stormiest time in your whole life. But I want you to understand, you have a friend. In all the goofiest places, you have a friend right here on the Funny Farm. And I mean that. If we were able to make you smile just a little bit, then we are happy. And if we can just make you as crazy as the rest of us, oh my, we'll be thrilled beyond words. Until tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, this is George Espenlaub saying good night wherever you are, and God bless you.